Can I ask what the licensing process for solar and power purchase agreements are? I understand we have someone from MBET that is able to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I missed you.
Yeah, my name is Abila, representing the MD CEO of MBET. The role of MBET in the sector is just to facilitate investment into the sector. And this investment, it can be the renewable investment. Now, when it comes to licensing, it's not our jurisdiction. It's the jurisdiction of the regulator, that is the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. However, what we do is to make sure that investor developers that comes into renewables, we work hand in hand with them to make sure that their project is bankable. Not only bankable, but sustainable. So some of the issues mentioned by the panelists, that a project will start and within no time that projects tend to just collapse. That is not what MBET does. MBET supports this project and make them bankable. Recently, on the last year, 21st of July, MBET signed a power purchase agreement with 14 developers, with a total megawatt of 1,125 additional megawatt that will come into the grid. And apart from that, with a total additional investment of $1.3 billion, some of these developers are here that will also put forward and give an update of the kind of development that they have done. Now, practically, what I'm trying to say is practically, there are some mega projects that is being done to help tap into this renewable. And we in MBET, for us to make sure that this project are sustainable, we have a prerequisite, a structured program to make sure that whoever is coming is not a joker, is somebody that, yes, will do a project and that project will be sustainable. So we have a prerequisite. Before we engage any developer, there are 4 prerequisites that you must achieve. 1, a title document issued by the relevant authority. So we don't want a situation whereby you have a project and you install a solar project, solar panels, and tomorrow somebody will come and take over that project. That is 1. 2, we'll make sure that you have an evacuation study. A study in such a way that whenever you generate this electricity, it can go to the grid. So it won't be a stranded electricity. The third aspect of it is radiation study to make sure that, yes, that particular site you want to do that project has adequate radiation to generate the electricity. And the last is the social responsibility, the environmental social impact assessment, to make sure that the community where you will generate this electricity is taken into consideration.
Okay, let me just stop you here there, because I want to bring in Eze. Often when we sit down and have these conversations, everybody in the room seems to want the same thing. You know, everybody talks about we want more power, but over the years, Nigeria has failed time and time again. And we are now here talking about regulations and policy, when increasingly in the rest of the world, essentially what is happening is that there's a democratization, if you like, of power, because that's essentially saying to people, you take charge of your power needs. What, in your view, is the reason why we seem to want the same thing, but somehow never seem to be able to get it done?
I think it's a lack of political will to implement key policy decisions, because every time, if you look at our policies, they're very quite beautiful on paper. They can compete with any policy you find in any part of the world. But at the end of the day, that political will, which I referred to earlier, that you must have your policy and plan reflect in your public expenditure. Because if your policy and plans are delaying from your public expenditure, then you have not started in the first place. So by the time we go ahead and make that proper link, and then also that enabling environment for the private sector to come on board, because all we have done so far, even if you look at the privatization of the power sector, we didn't do it the way it was supposed to have been done.
No, but Mr. Adebisi is telling us that that was before, and that we now have a new government which is committed, which is serious. That's why we've seen a new policy on mini off-grids. That's why we've seen a plan that says by the year 2030, we're going to have at least 30% renewables being responsible for our energy that we are producing.
No, I think these policies, like the renewable energy policy, I think it was even done in the last administration. So government is a continuum. You can't just draw a line somewhere and say, this was the last administration, this is the current administration. The bottom line of all these things now, for instance, in the last administration, you didn't have power works and housing merged together. Even having that now is a little bit of a confusion. There's so much trouble in each of these sectors that they should have even been divided. You can't be thinking of meeting 22 million housing units and also solving the power problems at the same time. So what I'm saying in essence is that we like the good things of life, but we are not walking the talk. We are not doing those things that should take us to those good things of life.
Okay, I want to bring in more people from the audience, but before I do, I think I owe the director an opportunity to respond.
Well, please, I have not come here to argue. I have come here to educate on renewable energy. Everybody is an energy expert, but there are not many power experts. There's a difference between energy and power. My brother here, we keep saying government is not reflected. When did we start renewable energy? Where were we before? Traders were the ones doing it. And that's why you have people like him, like them, coming now as professionals to do the right thing. You walk along the street, you see panels that are put under the shade of a tree. No professional will ever do that one. How will that one work? You need sunlight and it's already shaded. And that's why the government is not looking just at a few people. Like the Elbert man said, 14 independent producers are coming up online because of the policy of the government that has been put in place. I just asked him, when are you coming up? And he told me very soon, they are tidying up. And before you know it, in the next how many months now, you begin to get power from renewable energy. I spoke with Azura. How far? What are you doing? It's the government policy that is changing because of the fault that we have. Remember, since independence, please just give me one sentence. Since independence, we have been working with a monolithic structure. We are just divesting. We don't expect miracle within that short period.
Okay, we're going to have to take a break. When we return, we will get to speak to people that are working in that sector from the audience, and they will tell us what their experience is, what their learning points are, and what their challenges are. Please don't go away.